In our previous movie, we explored the integration between Dreamweaver, Bridge, and Photoshop. Let's take that a step further by looking at a feature we call Round Trip. Since we created this JPEG from a multi-layered Photoshop file, Dreamweaver is going to remember the source file. So if you're following along with us, we're still working in the calendar.html file. And if we select our JPEG on the page, if we look at our properties inspector, on the lower left-hand side over here, we can actually see a little PS icon, and that indicates it's coming from Photoshop. If you look at the very bottom middle section of the properties inspector, you can see that it actually has a space for the Photoshop source file. So if we move that or change location, we probably should update that here inside Dreamweaver. Now, having that source file designed in Photoshop allows us to use these edit buttons on our property inspector to open up the original directly in Photoshop and make any changes to the file that we want. So if I click on the edit button, it's going to go back into Photoshop, open this up. Now, if you've modified the graphic in between working in Dreamweaver and working in Photoshop, it's going to ask you, do you want me to update it? Do you want me to save it? So I'm just going to click update, and any changes that I'd made to it are going to be reflected. Now, what happened here is that this ad is using the wrong background. This is not an artwork from Dan Keyes. It's actually an artwork from another artist, Jennifer Lohman. So we want to go in and using our layers, we want to turn the Gen layer off. We want to turn that visibility off so that what we're looking at is just Danny's artwork on here. Now, it would be lovely if we had the feature of just saying save and update or something of that nature. We really don't have that. In terms of updating our JPEG, we definitely want to save our file. But at this point, to actually update the JPEG that we have in Dreamweaver, the easiest way is not really the most intuitive way. What we want to do is I'm going to grab the marquee selection tool, and just clicking on my file, I'm going to do a select all, which is Command A, or on the PC, you would do a Control A. Now, instead of hitting a hotkey to copy, I'm actually going to go up to edit because there's a specific copy you want to use here. You do not want to just do a regular copy, because if you do that, you're only copying the layer that you're on, and that's all the artwork that you're going to update. You're not going to update the whole thing. You're just going to paste over what you've got with just that one layer. So I'm going to choose copy merged. So using edit, I'm going to choose copy merged. Now, since I'm finished editing my Photoshop file, I'm going to close that. I don't want to leave it open in case I modify or change it later on. I definitely want that round trip trigger. Now, if I go back into Dreamweaver, I can select the artwork on the page, and I can go right up to Edit and choose Paste, and Dreamweaver updates for me. Now, it's actually updating the JPEG, and it's using the exact same compression settings that you used before. So if you wanted to change the compression settings, or even want to change the image type, you've got to do another save for web and optimize that and replace it that way. So this way is going to use the exact same compression settings that you had before. So now we've updated our artwork, and I can save the file. So we've just updated our file, and you can see that this is a monthly ad, and every month the background is going to change and the artist's name is going to change. Well, what if we could update that automatically and not have to worry about going in there and doing it manually? And in our next video, that's what we'll do. We'll take a look at automating that and using variables from inside Photoshop.